Hello YouTube, today I'm going to be working on my dad's 1970 GMC pickup. This pickup has an engine conversion from a 4.3 V8 Caprice engine. The year was 96 of the vehicle, the donor vehicle. And I'm going to be rewiring the computer. I'm going to be rewiring the engine harness so the computer doesn't end up on the driver's side fender, so it can be tucked underneath the firewall inside the engine. I mean, inside the dash of the cab. I started working on it yesterday. I should have recorded yesterday, but I totally forgot. But I'm going to show you what I have done and the process of me getting it to fire up, hopefully today. Let me give you guys a walk around. As you can see, it's a LT4 base LT4 base engine. It's a 4.3 V8. The newer engines that are 4.3 for GM are 6s, but this is a V8. As you can see, I've been running all the wiring through here and routing it through the firewall. Originally, these engines have the PCM located on the car, on the Caprice, right in the front driver fender, but I wanted to clean it up so you wouldn't see that much wires. As you can see, they're pretty much all routed, just a couple more wires to go. And it goes through a whole pre-existing hole through the firewall. Everything will be taped up and wire loom once it's finished. Let me show you inside. And yes, if I can get this to focus, we have chopped about 3 inches from the roof and made it suicide doors, and it's on air ride suspension, all done in-house. Sorry for the mess. As you can see, the PCM is right in there in the center of the dash. It will be sticking out a bit. Let me shine the light. It will be sticking out quite a bit, but that shouldn't really matter just because we're gonna build a center console or get someone to fabricate a center console for it. As you can see, all the wires dangling, but I have chopped and welded and extended all these wires to make them fit perfectly how I want it. You can see the pre-existing hole, and all these blue wires are the remotes for injectors, sensors, coil pack, and everything. These wires will get taped up and loomed and be hung up, looking nice and neat. And all these wires are the remotes and powers for the computer, AC, and dash controls. We are going to relocate the fuel tank on the back, but for the meantime, to get it started today, I'll probably put fuel in a bucket and just drop the pump inside. The tank will be rerouted to the back of the chassis, and the tank, we got it off of eBay. That fits right in between the 2 last frame rails. Like I said, this truck is on air ride suspension. Not fully dialed, but it's almost there. So what I'm going to be doing right now is routing these last couple of wires, which one is for the alternator to power it on when it's running, and the other 3 are for the AC compressor and for the air sensor, for the air pressure sensor. They'll be routed through the same hole, and inside I'm gonna put the fuse box probably right underneath the driver's side dash, and I'm gonna be using the stock Caprice, maybe stock Caprice fuse box. If I can grab it to show you guys, because it comes with fuses and relays already. Pretty much all I have to do is trim and just cut the wires, keep the wires that I need, so I can get rid of all this wiring hazard and mess. Oops. Dropped it by accident. And then I'm going to be removing all this stock. If I can find my light to show you guys. all this stock wiring loom from the Caprice. When we originally put this engine in, we had run all the Caprice's wiring harness. That's why you can see so much wire in here. We were going to leave it like this and run it in the dash, but I told Dad that there was too much wire in here for what we needed. We don't need wiring harness for seat controls, ABS, airbag module. So I'm cleaning up all of that, making it look nice and neat. Okay, YouTube, the first thing I'm going to be doing is removing all this old harness to get it out of my way. Here we go. Should have done this yesterday. Wires to deal with, but I guess I was working around it. Here, pull the steering wheel too, because we're not going to be using this one. That was planning. Oh, there's 13 bolts in here that I have to remove. 13, 10, and looks like 11. Let me remove it real quick. We were planning on using the steering wheel. Ended up scrapping that. Dad wanted to use it because of the whole wiring harness of the car. I finally convinced him to ditch it and go back to the original C10, which is way better. Gotta save the key because I have to use the anti-theft system back, so need to measure the resistance between the key to make it bypass. That, and I have to save the anti-theft module, which I believe is this one. So let me go get some wire cutters. Okay. Trusty Harbor Freight cutters. And I'll chop it from back here. I know there's extra wire in here, but that way I have a little bit more meat to choose from. There you go. Save that over here. Continue taking this harness off. Another relay box that might save, keep, has flasher relays. I'll definitely save it. Will I use it for this project? Probably not, just because the other one that I showed you, which I don't remember where I threw it, has fuses and relays, and I counted them and has all that I need. And take off all these wires and hose. Get it out of my way. Much better. Looks cleaner, and you guys can see I'm doing better. And see that there's less wiring in here. Of course, there's going to be more wiring once we put in the dash, lights, radio, and all the good stuff. But for the meantime, all we see is PCM and wiring for the PCM. And these blue wires are remotes for the sensors of the engine, coil pad, injectors, yada yada. And the other wires dangling on the other side, off the PCM, are AC, dash, remote, ground, and constant power. And this is the dash I was talking of that we custom made. As you can see, when we did it back in, I would say 2007, it was nice and clean, sitting around at the shop, lugging it back and forth. Has seen its better days, so we have to redo this glass. We'll try polishing it. If that doesn't work, then we'll scrap the whole thing, find a new trim piece for the GMC, and maybe a new dash, or try to work it out. If not, we'll use the aftermarket gauges and make it look like if it was an old style. And trust me, it fits. You just have to finagle it in there. Hello YouTube, it's been a couple of days since the last video I recorded. Last time I was with you guys, I was wiring the inside of the truck, getting everything wired, the fuse panel and everything. As you can see, I connected the dash already. If I turn on the switch, that's just fully functioning besides the signal light indicators and high beam, but pretty much everything else is good to go. It was on the bezel, but we removed the bezel. As you can see, it's not clear, so we're buying a new bezel for it and refabricating it to keep the old Caprice dash in it. Engine originally has 148,000 miles. Let me show you the wiring. Again, I haven't finished the wiring completely. This is why all these cables are still like that and aren't taped up all together. But for the most part, it's all done. A lot of these wires are extras, except for the signal lights, interior lights, which turns on all these little lights when it's nighttime, and the high beam indicator. As you can see, I ran power wire and the computer wires through here. Let me get the light through here. That's the anti-theft module. How to run it. I welded the key where it picks up the resistor, just so we wouldn't have a problem of it not starting. Later on in the future, I'm gonna hook up a toggle switch to one of these wires, or to the starter relay. That way it'll act like a kill switch. But as you can see, it's all nicely ran. Beaters there. All these wires are for ignition and start, so don't mind them. I haven't got the push to start that I ordered from eBay. And this is a toggle switch for air ride, for the front air ride. As you can hear it click, but there's no air in the tank, so it won't raise up. But yeah, and the fuse panel is right here, where I said I would mount it. All right, dash is back in. Fuel level isn't reading right. This is the wire for the fuel level. Long wire. We haven't got the fuel cell that we're gonna put on the back of the frame. There's something wrong with my PCM, or the wiring I did, I might have fluked somewhere, because the truck won't self-prime when you turn on the switch, which this is my temporary switch, as you can see. It should be kicking on the fuel pump, but it doesn't. It has to build up oil pressure to kick on the fuel pump. On these trucks, to keep the fuel pump going, once it's on, the PCM only stays on for about, I believe, 5 to 10 seconds until the engine can build oil pressure. And then the oil pressure switch is what sends power to the fuel pump to keep it running. And that's what's making the truck turn on right now, because it has to build pressure to start. That's why it takes a while. If I can't figure it out, what I'm gonna do is hook up the fuel pump to the starter, so every time you hit the starter, this is my starter wire going to the starter relay behind the dash, as you can kind of see there. I'm gonna do that. Once you hit the starter, it primes the fuel pump. But further ado, here goes me turning it on. powers off. Once it's started, it doesn't take as long, but like I said, it has to build oil pressure to kick on fuel pump to reprime the system. And since the fuel system right now is temporary, it's fuel in the bucket, fuel pump inside the bucket, so it releases all the fuel pressure, it drains the rail completely. That's why it takes a while to start back up after it's been sitting for a day. But after it's ran for a bit, turn on the switch. This is a power wire coming off the switch, so that's why I'm starting it. As you can see, it starts up fine. Progress going well. Just waiting, like I said, push to start to wire the push to start, fuel cell, and going to see what my dad wants to run. If he wants to run AN line all the way up to the front or regular fuel injection hose. Also, I put the grill temporarily on and the lower valence, or the roll pan, I would say. I hope you guys enjoyed the video of the progress of my dad's C10. I'll keep you guys updated on any new stuff we'll be doing on it. Thank you and have a nice day.